Hey, what's up everyone? This is Snackbox. Welcome back to the channel. Guys, in this video we're going to talk about this week's trials for Chimera on Ultra Nightmare. I know I haven't been doing a video in like 2 weeks for Chimera, and there's a reason for that. Basically, the rotations keep repeating, right? So therefore, if I don't have a new team that I can show you, I don't want to do another video on the same thing that I already did. So I don't want to repeat the things that I'm talking about because there was nothing new for me that I could show you or talk about that I haven't covered already. But this week I actually have something new that I want to talk about. I have one new team that I want to show you that I ran for this week. Got all the 25 mats plus the 4-star basalt. And I will also mention real quick the team that I usually use on my account for this week's rotation of trials, which is better in terms of rewards. You can get the 3-star basalt, the 4-star basalt, and the 25 mats, but it's way harder to do and way harder to run. The stat requirements are much bigger and you're much more depending on RNG. But before we talk about the teams and the trials and everything, I want to point out that the majority of my viewers is not subscribed to the channel. So please guys, if you enjoy my content, subscribe. Also like the video. It really goes a long way. It really does make a difference. Over 70% of the watch time is by people that are not subscribed to the channel in the past year. I also had a personal goal to reach 3,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And we are very close. We're at 2.7k. So if you want to help me to reach that goal and also show some appreciation for all the hard work that I put in, subscribe to the channel and also leave a like below. And now let's get back to the video. So now one thing that I have to say about this new update, finally we can come in here into the clan boss tab and, you know, go into this fight even though we don't have keys, which is absolutely amazing because that means that I can cover, you know, all these trials in the game even though I used my keys already. So the first thing on the ramp form, we have the 3-star basalt on trials number 1. For that, you need to damage the Chimera while the Chimera is under fear or true fear. And I think it is 2 million damage. And then we need to damage the Chimera with enemy max HP hits, poisons, HP burn, or smite. I think it's 750k for the 3-star basalt. Pretty easy to do. Now, it's not that important to grab the 3-star basalt, but it's definitely a nice bonus. You know, in the best case scenario, you get the 25 mats, the 4-star basalt, and the 3-star basalt, basically. Then on trials number 3 on the ramp form, we have this trial chain right here, which rewards us with 7 mythical mats. For that, we need to block 7 stun debuffs using block debuffs, intercept, or stone skin within 5 of the Chimera's turns. And this is probably the most annoying trial there is in Chimera because it depends on RNG. It depends on weak hits. If you get weak hit, you know, right now we have the magic affinity, which I actually didn't talk about. So we have the force affinity on the normal form, and then an infinity change to magic on the trial forms. And this is pretty annoying because if you now use a force affinity champion and you get weak hit with this skill that places stuns, the Chimera won't place the stuns, right? So you technically miss out on a chance to block a stun every time you get weak hit. So you're getting punished for bringing strong affinity champions, which is absolutely stupid in my opinion and should not be the case, but it is what it is. I hope they will change it at some point. They did a Chimera rebalance this year, which was amazing. They did a few changes, the amount of damage you have to do on some of the trials, and that was absolutely amazing. Also, they added the 4-star basalt and so on, and the mythical mats are more compact on the trials, so that was great. But now we gotta keep doing that. We gotta keep taking the RNG out of this PvE content because, in my opinion, you don't want to waste your time on that just for the RNG to be not on your side, and then you have to, you know, rerun the whole thing. And I don't know. In my opinion, it should not be the case. But anyway, so this is what we have to do. First, we gotta damage the Chimera, the ramp form, while it is under decreased defense, and you are under perfect whale. That's 1.2 million damage. Then we need to place 6 unique debuffs and 6 unique buffs within 2 turns. Very important. And then block 7 stuns, but you can only do it on the second time you face the ramp form. And that is why the RNG is so stupid in this boss fight, because you have to do basically a full cycle of ram, lion, and viper, and then go into the second ram form. The second time you face the ram form, you can actually complete this stun trial. You cannot do it before, so if the RNG happens to not be on your side, for the second time you face the ram form, you're already like half an hour in, it doesn't work, now you gotta restart. So a whole 30 minutes go down the drain, and that should not be the case. So one thing that could change that is if it's, if the skill would be not depending on the hit, right? To place the stuns, it's this one right here. Attacks one enemy, then attacks all other enemies. So if the stun wasn't depending on the attack, right? If the ram form would place the stuns anyway, even though it would weak hit, then the whole thing becomes more controllable. You don't get punished for bringing strong affinity champions, which should be the case. Now that's one thing that I want to see changed. I hope they are considering that. If not, then, we just gotta suffer, I guess. Then on the line form, we can get another 9 mythical mets. Here we need to place a leech debuff, damage the Chimera for 3 million damage on Ultra Nightmare. For the normal trial, we need to place 10 debuffs on the Chimera within 2 of its turns. Also very important. And one of the debuffs must be decrease resistance. Now this works also if you already have decreased resistance on the Chimera and you place the 10th or replace the 10th debuff. It doesn't matter what debuff it is. The only thing that matters is that the debuff bar is full with 10 debuffs and you have decreased resistance on it. Then we need to damage the Chimera using reflect damage buffs, pain link debuffs, and passive reflect damage effects. We need to reflect 1.5 million damage, and there are a few champions that can do that, but not many, right? There are only a few specific champions that can do this trial. Then we move on to the Viper form. Here we have the 4-star Assault on trials number 1. We need to damage the Chimera while it is under block active skills. The most popular champion that can do that is Lydia. But then there's also Galathier. If you swap forms, you have to block active skills in a second form, which is absolutely amazing. That means you can replace Lydia with somebody else. So once we're done with that, we need to damage the Chimera within 2 of its turns while it is under block buffs and HP burn. So you gotta have both of these debuffs at the same time and damage the Chimera within 2 of its turns. And after that, we need to get rid of block active skills and then damage the Chimera. While it is under 10 debuffs, the debuff bar must be full, but not with block active skills, and then deal 2 million damage, and that's how we get the 4-star Assault. And the last 9 mythical mats are on trials number 3 on the Viper form. We need to damage the Chimera within 3 of its turns while it is under decreased attack and increased speed. Then we need to deal 800,000 damage in 1 hit while the champion is under increased attack and block debuffs. As you can see, this will not count damage from counter attacks. And then resist 20 debuffs while the Chimera is under decreased accuracy and your champions are under increased resistance. And this can be done with the poison skill that the Viper form is doing. It will try to place 3 poisons on every champion and 1 poison sensitivity times 5. That's 20 debuffs. If everything goes right, that's how you complete this trial in one go. All right, so now that we talked about the trials, here you can already see this is the team that I used for this week. It's very hard to run. It's not easy, not fun at all. I don't recommend it unless you want to, maximize your rewards. You can get the 3-star Assault, the 4-star Assault, and the 25 mats with this team. And I can show you a screenshot. This is from the last time that I ran this team. I got the 4-star Assault and the 25 mats, but this time it wasn't going as good. I got the 3-star Assault though, I got the 4-star Assault, and I got 19 mats. On this run, I actually missed out on the reflect damage trial, which was kind of unfortunate, but I found a way to deal with this trial a little bit better. And the reason why I missed it, I think, is because Galathier is Force Affinity, the line form is Magic Affinity, so if the Magic Affinity line form attacks Galathier, there's a chance to weak hit, and therefore he won't reflect as much damage, and Sneak Track won't get a lot of damage through the ally protection that he puts on everybody, and then the reflected damage will be lower. So I can show you a screenshot. This is the amount of damage that I reflected, 1.2 million out of 1.5 million damage. Kind of unfortunate. It was basically just one more hit from the line form on Sneak Track, and yeah. So basically the way that you do it is build your sneak track with the highest defense. That way he will always get attacked, right? And if he gets attacked, he will always reflect damage because he has that passive. He has that passive right here, reflects 50% of the damage this champion receives back to the attacker. And to make sure that the line form is always targeting him, you gotta have the highest defense on this champion. Also, another thing that I did was I just gave him a random relic that had a square shape of a gemstone. And then you use this reflect damage gemstone, which increases the reflect damage by 10%. It increases any reflect damage effects and buffs. So it should increase his passive, and it did, and it was quite noticeable. And in the second run, I actually got this reflect trial done fairly easily, way quicker. It really made a huge difference. But then I missed the one where I have to resist 20 debuffs, right? On the Viper form. And the reason why I couldn't do this trial, this is the one I'm talking about, resisted to 20 debuffs while the Chimera is under decreased accuracy, is because Firo weak hit like 3 or 4 times in a row with his decreased accuracy skill. So if that happens, and that is the RNG that I'm talking about, you won't be able to complete this trial. It doesn't matter what you do, right? If you don't land that decreased accuracy, you can't do it. So that's why I couldn't do it, and I didn't have it in me to retry again just because of the weak hits. What if I weak hit again, right? So I just kept it. This was the result of the first run, and the second run was, the same, just that I didn't get the mats from the resist trial, but the ones from the reflect. So yeah, so basically it was just reverse, right? I also have a video on this, how to use this team. I will actually put it in the description below, so feel free to check that out. Now the next team that I'm going to show you is, not free-to-play friendly at all. I mean, if you thought this was not free-to-play friendly, then, take a look at this team. Basically, this is the easiest team that you can run this week. It is so smooth. I did this on one of my clanmates' account and did it pretty much first try, right? So like I said, this is the easiest team that you can run this week for Mythical Mats and the 4-star Basalt. We also have Firo in here. We also have Galatir for the block active skills. We have Sinogre Blademaster as our main DPS, and because we have Fina as well and Gizmag, the ramp form becomes very easy, and you can build her with 70% crit rate, right? That allows you to stack up a lot more damage, and we have to have that unless you have really crazy gear, because she's not hitting hard, right? She has relatively low multipliers. She has 4 hitters, right? She hits 4 times with her skills. She's self-buffing. That's also good. She has the right affinity, and she's really great for Chimera. But you have to have a high soul 5-star minimum unless you have really crazy gear. Then you can maybe do it. You also have to build your Firo and Pharaoh. You have to have your Gizmag in protection, your Fina in protection. You need all the damage multipliers that you can get for her to hit hard enough. You need an Erratic Coronet, Boss Slayer in the best case. You need to build her in a 6-piece Merciless set and 1 Zeal set to get that additional damage. And yeah, absolutely amazing champion. Also, in general, this team works really, really well, and I had absolutely no problem. Gizmag is the best reflect damage champion there is for the Chimera trials, and yeah, just very easy to run. And the same thing kind of applies for this team too. You want to maximize your damage output with 9-piece Pharaoh sets and 9-piece protection sets as much as you can to make sure that your damage dealer is hitting hard enough and hitting the damage thresholds that are required for the trials. So yeah guys, that's been pretty much it for this video. I do have a few relic mats that I want to craft soon. I have another 2 mythical crafts from the Chimera group, 1 from the clan group, 1 from the Live Arena group from this season, and 77 from Faction Wars. Maybe I can get this to 102 as soon as I want to craft. I got some from Grim Forest too, but that's going to take a while until I, get a full mythical craft out of there. But yeah, I'm going to do a relic crafting video soon, so keep an eye out on that. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed, please subscribe to the channel and also hit that like button. It really goes a long way. The YouTube algorithm is going to suggest you a video that you might like right here. and see you in the next one.